Hello everyone and welcome to JB's Total Gaming, where today we're going to be doing the all-out comparison between Battleborn and Overwatch. I know a lot of people have wanted a very full comparison. That's what we're going to try to do today, compare all different sorts of aspects of these two games. Now, if you're not really familiar with these two games, both of these games are coming out soon, and they are considered, well, it's kind of a new genre, maybe hero shooters, where each team has a group of heroes with diverse powers and abilities that are going at it trying to achieve different things. These games are very different from each other. However, there are a lot of comparisons because of, well, they're alike in a lot of ways. They are first-person shooters with heroes. They look a little bit similar graphically, but they do play very differently. So we're going to be going over what these games do well and who might enjoy each one of these games. I've seen a few people comparing these things, and I've been kind of sad, really, with what's been out there. People have been basically saying, well, this one's better, that one's better. And here's going to be a real breakdown to help you find which game might be right for you, because there are definitely some differences. And the footage we're going to be showing a little bit of the Battleborn single-player footage. Now, this is single-player or co-op. We can go in with multiple people and complete these story missions and a little bit of the loot, and then we're going to have some Overwatch gameplay, and then back to some Battleborn team-based gameplay, and again, some Overwatch team-based gameplay. Overwatch only has the team-based gameplay. There isn't really a single-player campaign, where Battleborn does have that, where you can play single player or a co-op with other people online and play through a campaign. And that is one of the major differences. But let's get into what each game does and what each game does well. First, let's talk about the graphics and compare them. So both games are pretty brightly colored. Battleborn is a little bit different. It is that Gearbox style. So Gearbox did Borderlands, so if you're familiar with those games, there are going to be a lot of similarities to Borderlands in this game. It's going to be very bright and bombastic, even compared to Overwatch, which is a very bright game. There are a ton of particle effects and different things going on, and I have a few little problems with it. The gun models are huge, the character models are huge. Between all the effects going off, the creeps and the minions going along, people being in front of you with their huge models, it can be a little bit difficult to track everything that's going on, but it's just a mass of color, and I mean, it is a neat looking game, where Overwatch is going to look a little cleaner, a little more cartoonish, a little more like a Pixar film. So there's a little bit less spectacle on the screen, so if you enjoy that, you may miss that in Overwatch, but it's also a little bit easier to tell what's going on and not be distracted by all of that spectacle. So let's talk about progression, because that is a huge thing. So there are command levels in Battleborn, and there are different challenges you can do to unlock heroes or get to a certain level of command, basically experience. So each hero is going to have a thing where if you accomplish this thing, and some are going to be easier than others, you unlock a hero, or automatically you'll get all the heroes by getting a certain level of command, and you get command points and level up by doing both the single and multiplayer campaign sort of thing and the regular multiplayer games. But you don't have all the heroes right away. That can be a positive or a negative. It can be a positive because you can learn heroes more kind of one at a time, whereas in Overwatch throws everything at you, and changing heroes is a big deal, and being able to play other heroes is a big deal. But it also can be kind of annoying as far as maybe there's somebody you want to play and it might be a while until you can get to that person. There is also in-game gear, and one of the ways the game progresses is you get more of this gear. After battles, you can get things both in the single player or multiplayer, and basically they unlock things that you can then unlock in battle with in-battle in-game currency. And that's another way the progression goes, and you can sell things and then buy more loot packs and so on and so forth in order to push that progression. That's going to be a big thing, is trying to get gear. And the thing is there legendary gear that's more rare and powerful, but it often comes with setbacks, and also it costs more in-game currency to use, so you won't be able to use it until later in the match. And there's also some choices as to how you use that in-game currency that we'll get into. Whereas in Overwatch, all your heroes are unlocked. The upgrades are only cosmetic. So here's the thing, if you are kind of a modern gamer who's used to getting all of this progression, constantly getting new stuff, unlocking things, you might be annoyed that Overwatch doesn't really have that. It's all cosmetic things. There are some really cool things, character skins in that, but like different poses for victory, and just whenever you get the highlight at the end of the game, different poses and things like that. There are a lot of kind of cool cosmetic things, but it is entirely cosmetic. So if you need that sense of progression in that you're getting new weapons or characters or things like that, you're not going to have that. Overwatch takes a different approach, where it tries to focus on kind of the gameplay keeping you in rather than upgrading things like that. Not to say that the gameplay in Battleborn is bad, but it's a little bit more old school in its design, in that, hey, we just made a really fun game and you should want to keep playing it. And yeah, here's some more things you're going to get, but it's not going to change the game per se as you play it longer. So obviously in Battleborn you have the story mode, which is a huge difference. Now, does it play like a first-person shooter campaign? No, I'd say it plays more like raids in an MMO where, yeah, I mean, and in this it does allow you to play single player and it scales back to difficulty, but you can go in and then you're going to go through, take out some creeps, fight a mini boss, take out some creeps, maybe fight a mini boss, and eventually get to a big boss. There are some cool set pieces, there are some cool things to do with the story. Overall, I'm having difficulty getting into the story. I don't really find it that interesting. I don't think they do a really great job of introducing the characters in the world and the story in the game, but it is there if that's something you enjoy. And overall, I do think it's pretty neat. You will find a lot of cool things along the way, different boss setups and things like that. It is quite different what you'll come across as you play, and it's pretty interesting. I do like the ability that you can play with other players in co-op, and you can play with people that you know, or go in with random people as well. So there isn't one in Overwatch. So how important is that to you? Well, I don't know. That's going to be up to you. But that is important to know. That is one of the big differences between the games. The base price for Battleborn is $60, where Overwatch you can get for $40, or like a $60 special edition that includes more things. So what about the characters? So this is rather interesting. I actually think both games have fantastic characters. Their characters are bombastic. They are very diverse and unique, and some people are going to be like, oh, this character is just copying this character. Both these games have been in development a long time. It's hard to do things truly original. Yes, you're going to have like an archer character, or this character, or that character, but the abilities the characters have are really unique, and each game has characters that allow you to play very differently. Battleborn has a little bit more of a lot of melee-focused characters, although both games have that, but you're going to have healers and tanks and things like that, but each one of these characters is also going to have other things that they can do, characters that specialize in certain things, and I think both games have a huge diversity of ways you can play with characters and styles you can do, and you're going to find somebody you like, and even if you're a Twitch shooter or you're not really a Twitch shooter, you're going to be able to find a character you want to play. As far as which ones I enjoy more, well, Battleborn is the Gearbox sort of characters. They're very irreverent, loud, bombastic, they bleep out swear words and things like that, whereas Overwatch, it is irreverent. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's not irreverent in like a juvenile or a like in-your-face sort of way. The characters are lighthearted and things like that. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but I would compare it more to Overwatch is, I guess, more like The Simpsons, where, yeah, they can be irreverent, but they also take themselves a little bit seriously and can be intelligent from time to time, where Battleborn is more like Family Guy, just in-your-face silliness. So, again, just like Gearbox characters in Borderlands or things like that, that's kind of the difference, and it's really up to you to which personality of character that you're really going to enjoy more. Now, the gameplay. This is the big difference. Battleborn is basically a MOBA, like League of Legends or Dota or things like that. You have creeps that are moving back and forth. Right now, there are two game modes. One where you're trying to get your creeps into this incinerator thing that thinks it's a god. That I really think it's kind of funny and whatever. There's a neat narrator in that. And then there's one where you have to get your creeps there to get the shields down in order to take down two big robots that are basically, like centers or whatever that you'd have to take down normally in an MMO. It plays very much like an MMO. So there are creeps, there are items that you can get. And here's one of those choices, though. You can get in-game currency, and one of the things you can do, yes, you can go around and fight creeps, you can get mercenaries or things like that by defeating them and hiring them. But you can also collect this currency that you can either build defensive structures with or unlock your items with. But building defensive structures levels you up. So another thing is you have level up. So you can collect these shards, you have a choice what to do, and as you level up, there's going to be a binary choice for each character. So much like a MOBA, as you play, your character is going to change and get more powerful, and you have those choices of getting mercenaries and all that thing. It plays like a MOBA, just in first person. It does have a lot of interesting choices. There is one potential negative, though. By being able to rebuild defensive structures, it can make the game sometimes maybe go on a little bit longer than you might expect. I think a lot of MOBAs have a little bit longer games, and games can be over very quickly too if a team dominates, but those are kind of the two modes, whereas it's a very strategic game like most MOBAs where you have to make those sort of choices. Battleborn is rather more tactical, and here's the big catch on Battleborn is that you can change characters as you play. You can see what's going on, you can see the enemy structure and how they're playing, and you can react to it. So it's not as big a strategic as, which role am I going to do or whatever, and focus on that, but moment to moment you're going to be changing what you are going to be doing. The key is being able to switch characters. You are going to want to learn multiple different characters, which could be a positive or negative as you play the game, and there are things like a payload where you're moving along. There's point capture and point defense, so it's not really like it's not a MOBA, and that's the big thing. This is a team-based shooter, more like Team Fortress or something like that, and that is a big delineation you have to keep in mind. So basically, one is a MOBA that's very strategic, and one is a team shooter that's just very tactical. And the style of gameplay that you enjoy, having to focus on one thing and play that way, or be able to switch on the fly and things like that. But they're both very team-based games, and that's one thing Overwatch tries very hard to do. It doesn't focus on kill-death ratio. It focuses on completing the objective as a team, and if you work together as a team, that's great. But both of these games are going to suffer from that. If you play with people you know and work together, they're going to play better than if you're playing with random people. So overall, here's the big differences. I talked about the gameplay a little bit different as far as how they're focused. The game modes, where you're playing with the creeps or just playing with each other, and you're not worried about mercenaries and creeps and things like that. Battleborn's going to play a little bit slower because it is like a MOBA, and you're going to have all these different things that you're going to focus on. I'm not going to say it's a slow gameplay, but if you're looking for more first-person shooter pure action, then Overwatch is probably going to be for you. But if you like the idea of a first-person MOBA and you like MOBA gameplay, then Battleborn's probably going to be your choice. Both games let you really be a great shooter if you want to. So obviously there are characters that shoot very well, and you can do that if you want to do that, but Battleborn is also going to be a MOBA, where Overwatch, yes, if you're going to be a great shooter, maybe that's going to be the one you prefer, but you don't have to be a great shooter to play it. You can play a game where you're more of a melee character, where you're more of a healer, where you don't have to focus on shooting, where you can set up turrets and do all different things. So while Overwatch, I feel, offers more maybe if you're interested just in the first-person shooter gameplay, and Battleborn offers more if you're interested in the MOBA gameplay. Both games allow you to play as a shooter, and both games allow you to play not as a shooter, so either one is okay. Overall, I enjoy both games very much. I do like the quickness of Overwatch. That's something that I enjoy quite a bit, although I feel like as I get to know Battleborn more, the fact that there is so much going on is something that I might appreciate more over time. I'm not really going to get too much into which one I prefer, because overall I thought I enjoyed Overwatch a little bit more just because it was so instant action and so in your face and really fun, but Battleborn has a lot of depth to it. And really Overwatch does too, but it's in the subtleties, it's in the changing characters, it's in the reacting to what your opponents are doing. So it's going to be up to you which of those styles of gameplay interest you more. Do you want the grand strategy of the MOBA, or do you want the quick reaction knowing the characters of Overwatch? Both games are really fun. Both games I feel like offer a fair value and have, very different progression systems. If you need new characters and things like that, Battleborn has that. If you just enjoy the gameplay and don't mind the cosmetics, Overwatch, I still think the progression is fun. And overall, both games offer you a lot, and you just have to decide, what do I want? Do I want the quicker sort of in the moment changing a reaction, or the grand strategy? And that's going to help you decide which one of these games is right for you. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.